Mom's voice cut across the family dinner table like a knife. "Hannah, honey, maybe focus on getting a real career before you start bragging." I'd just mentioned my promotion to senior designer. Dad nodded along without even looking at me. "Your brother's doing actual sales work. That's what pays the bills." Tyler smirked while they both raised their glasses to toast him for hitting quota at his mid-tier sales job. I sat there frozen, in front of aunts, uncles, cousins, all of them watching. That was the moment I realized they'd never see me. But what they didn't know, I'd already been seen by people who mattered. My name's Hannah. I'm 24. I'm a graphic designer living about 2 hours from my hometown, working at a mid-sized creative agency. I moved away when I was 22 to take the job. My parents thought it was a phase. Growing up, I was the quiet one. Tyler was loud, charming, played varsity soccer. I was the artsy kid who spent weekends drawing in my room. My parents always valued traditional success, sales jobs, business degrees, visible money. I wasn't flashy. I didn't drive a leased BMW or talk about commission checks, but I had something they didn't expect: talent people actually paid for. I worked late nights, built my portfolio piece by piece, took freelance gigs on weekends to pay off my student loans. I kept trying to share my wins with them, but every time, it got brushed aside. Like it didn't count. Like I didn't count. I wasn't asking for a parade. I just wanted them to see me, to be proud of me the way they were proud of Tyler every time he closed a deal or hit a sales target. But that never happened. If you've ever been pushed aside by family, subscribe right now and tell me where you're watching from. Because what I'm about to tell you, it's about the moment everything changed. It started 3 months ago. I drove home for the weekend because my parents were throwing a party for Tyler. He'd just been promoted to regional sales lead. It was decent. Not extraordinary, but decent. When I pulled up to the house, there were balloons on the mailbox, catered trays on the kitchen island, 40+ people invited. I was happy for him. I really was. But I'd also just landed my own huge win. I'd been promoted to senior designer, and my team had just signed a major national client, a retail brand campaign that was about to go live everywhere. I figured I'd wait for a quiet moment to tell my parents. I thought they'd be proud. I found Mom in the kitchen arranging appetizers on a platter. "Mom," I said, "I actually have some big news too. I got promoted and we just signed." She didn't even look up. "That's nice, sweetie. Can you grab more napkins from the garage?" I stood there for a second, holding my breath. Then I went to find Dad. He was out on the deck, talking to my uncle about Tyler's new title. "Dad, hey, I just wanted to tell you I got promoted at work and..." He waved me off. Yeah, good for you. But tonight's about Tyler, okay? Let him have his moment." I swallowed the hurt and nodded. I helped serve food while Tyler stood in the living room giving a speech. He thanked Mom and Dad for always believing in him. Everyone clapped. I stood in the corner holding a tray of bruschetta. After the party wound down, Mom asked me to stay and help clean up. "You don't have to be anywhere important tomorrow, right?" Tyler's friends were still there, drinking beer on the couch. I was wiping down counters in the background. One of them asked what I did for work. Tyler jumped in before I could answer. "She does, like, graphic design stuff. Makes logos or whatever." Everyone nodded politely. Then they changed the subject. I scrubbed serving dishes in silence while they laughed in the next room. But it didn't stop there. During the party, a professional photographer showed up. I didn't even know my parents had hired one. She started setting up a big family portrait in the living room. I moved toward the group to join in. Mom pulled me aside, her hand tight on my elbow. She whispered, "Honey, maybe sit this one out. You're wearing jeans, and we want this to look polished." I glanced down. I was wearing nice jeans and a blouse. Perfectly fine. Tyler was in a button-down. Dad had thrown on a blazer, but apparently I wasn't enough. I stood in the kitchen doorway and watched them pose and smile. My uncle noticed I wasn't in the shot. "Where's Hannah?" Mom waved him off without missing a beat. "She's camera shy." I wasn't camera shy. I just wasn't wanted in the frame. A week later, my aunt hosted Sunday brunch. The whole family was there. Everyone asked Tyler about his promotion. He talked for 15 minutes straight. Then my cousin turned to me. "What about you, Hannah? What's new?" Before I could answer, Dad jumped in. "Oh, Hannah's still figuring things out. You know how creative types are. Lots of projects, nothing super stable." I was standing right there. I cleared my throat. "Actually, I have a salaried position and just got promoted." Dad laughed it off. Sure, but it's not like a corporate job, you know?" My aunt reached over and patted my hand. Like I was struggling, like I needed sympathy. My throat tightened. I excused myself to the bathroom and sat on the edge of the tub, shaking. I stared at the tile floor and told myself not to cry. 2 weeks after that, Mom called me. "Hey, sweetie, so Tyler's looking to buy a condo." "That's great," I said. "He needs a little help with the down payment. We're chipping in, but he's a bit short. Could you maybe pitch in $3,000? I blinked. "Mom, I have student loans. And rent." "I know. But you don't have kids or a mortgage, so you've got extra, right?" "I don't have extra." She sighed. "Your job is just... it's not like Tyler's expenses. He has real career costs." My voice went tight. "My job is real." "Don't be sensitive, Hannah. We're just saying he's building a future. You're still doing your art thing." I told her I couldn't help. She got quiet. "Okay, well, we'll figure it out." Over the next few weeks, they barely texted me. I threw myself into my work. My campaign went live. I started seeing my designs everywhere. Billboards, Instagram ads, in stores. I was so proud I could barely breathe. I took a photo of one of the billboards and sent it to my parents. Mom's response came 3 hours later. "That's nice." That was it. I stopped trying after that. What they didn't know was that while they were celebrating Tyler's regional quota, my designs were being featured in a national retail campaign seen by millions. My creative director, Jenna, had submitted my portfolio to an industry awards program without telling me. I'd been nominated for Emerging Designer of the Year, and I'd been asked to speak on a panel at a major marketing and design conference in the city. It was a big deal. Brands, agencies, executives, everyone attended. I hadn't told my parents. Honestly, what was the point? But I'd quietly prepared a 20-minute talk about my journey and the strategy behind the campaign. I'd also been approached by a bigger agency hinting at a senior role with a serious pay bump. They had no idea that while I was cleaning up after Tyler's party, my name was being printed in the conference program next to industry legends. Jenna pulled me aside one afternoon at work. She was in her late 30s, tough but fair. She saw things in me I didn't always see in myself. "You okay?" she asked. I'd come in that morning looking rough after the brunch incident. I broke down a little and told her the truth. That my family didn't take me seriously. That they didn't think my work mattered. Jenna's face hardened. "Listen to me. You're one of the best designers I've ever worked with. If they can't see that, screw 'em. But don't you dare shrink yourself because of them." She insisted I do the conference talk. She even offered to come for support. My best friend from college, Mara, called the next day. She'd been visiting during Tyler's party and saw the whole photo thing. "I swear to God I wanted to say something. Your family is blind." She told me to stop seeking their approval. "You've already made it, Hannah. They're just too stubborn to notice." But my parents kept going. They posted about Tyler constantly on Facebook. Then Tyler got engaged. They threw another party. I was invited. but mostly ignored. At the engagement party, Tyler's fiancée, Stephanie, came up to me. "It must be so relaxing," she said, "having a low-pressure job like yours." I just nodded. I didn't say anything. What was the point? A month before the conference, my parents called. "So," Mom said, "we're planning Thanksgiving at the house, but Tyler and Stephanie need your old room for the weekend." Waited. "Could you maybe stay at a hotel this year?" I couldn't believe what I was hearing. "You're uninviting me from Thanksgiving?" Dad's voice came through in the background. "We're not uninviting you. Space is just tight." There were 4 bedrooms in that house. I stayed calm. "Got it. I'll make other plans." I hung up. Then I booked myself a spa day for Thanksgiving weekend. I was done trying. The design conference happened the week before Thanksgiving. My talk was scheduled mid-morning on day 2. I was nervous, but I was ready. What I didn't know was that Tyler's company had a client partnership with one of the sponsors. His boss got free tickets and invited Tyler and my parents as a networking opportunity. They showed up on day 2. Tyler and my parents were wandering the exhibitor hall when they passed the schedule board. Panel: The New Wave of Design, featuring Hannah Morales, Senior Designer. Dad squinted. "Is that our Hannah?" Mom laughed. "Can't be. She'd have told us." Tyler pulled up the conference app. There was my headshot, my bio, my credentials, the awards nomination, the campaign. They stood there, staring at the screen. They slipped into the back of the session room. I was on stage with 2 other designers and a moderator. I was talking about creative strategy, brand identity, the campaign that had gone national. The moderator mentioned my nomination. The audience, over 200 people, was taking notes. I felt confident, proud. I didn't see my parents in the back, but they saw me. After the panel, I was in the hallway networking. Jenna was with me. Then I heard Mom's voice. "Hannah? Sweetie." I turned. All 3 of them were standing there. Mom had this bright, fake smile plastered on her face. "We had no idea you were speaking today." I blinked. "What are you doing here?" Dad stepped forward. "Tyler's company had tickets. We're so proud of you. Why didn't you tell us?" I stayed calm. "I did. Multiple times." Mom's smile faltered. "Well, not about this." I looked her in the eye. "I told you about my promotion, the campaign, the nomination. You said it was nice and asked me to grab napkins." Tyler shifted uncomfortably. "Hannah, come on, don't make this weird." "I'm not," I said. "I'm just stating facts." Dad tried again. "We've always supported you." I took a breath. "You threw 2 parties for Tyler in 3 months. You didn't even ask about my work." Mom's voice went defensive. "We just didn't understand what you did." "You didn't try to understand," I said. "You decided it didn't matter." I pulled out my phone. I showed them screenshots, messages I'd sent about my wins, their 1-word replies. "I wanted you to be proud of me," I said, "but you were too busy deciding what counted as success." Jenna stepped in, firm but polite. "Hannah, we've got the agency dinner in 10. You ready?" I nodded. I looked at my parents one last time. "I'm glad. You got to see this. But I'm done trying to prove myself to you." Then I walked away. Over the next 2 weeks, they tried to reconnect. Mom texted, "Can we talk? We're really proud of you." Dad called. He wanted to clear the air. Tyler sent a long apology text about not standing up for me. I didn't ignore them. But I wasn't rushing back either. A month later, I agreed to meet them for coffee. They apologized, said they didn't realize, that they wanted to be involved now. I stayed calm. "I appreciate that, but I need you to understand I'm not doing this for your approval anymore." Mom's eyes filled with tears. "We were wrong. We just didn't get it. I know, I said, but I needed you to try. I set boundaries. I'd visit sometimes, but I wasn't going to shrink myself or beg for recognition ever again. They asked if they could come to my award ceremony if I won. Maybe, I said. We'll see. I left the coffee shop feeling lighter. They were finally listening, but I was no longer waiting for their validation. For once, their silence didn't hurt me. It freed me. I built a life surrounded by people who see me, who value me, who celebrate me. Tyler and I eventually repaired things. He admitted he took their favoritism for granted. But I know now, I don't need their approval to be successful. I already am. Where are you watching from? Drop it below. I always check. If this story hit home, do me a favor. Subscribe and share it with someone who needs to hear it. Have you ever had to prove yourself to family who didn't believe in you? I want to hear your story. Comment below. I read every single one, and your words mean more than you know. Thanks for listening. I'll see you in the next one.